right, just tell us a story. Just tell us a story about growing up until now, working on the farm.
Well, I was road, and when it rained, well, we stayed home. But my parents had bought that farm in 1918 and moved there, and it's still in the family. It's owned now by my two sons. I had three sisters and one brother, and they're all gone now. Our farm was 224 acres, which was considered a pretty good sized farm back in those days. We always used tractors, but we also used horses to farm with. Most of the work now that we do with machinery, all of that was done by hand back then. Our corn was all picked by hand, and our wheat was cut with what they call a binder, which is just cut the crop down, and we had to stack it, haul it to a thrash machine, and everything was more labor intensive then. We survived the depression pretty good. A lot of people lost their farms. We were on welfare with the welfare we had back in those days, but we avoided that. We always made a living, but everybody, the whole family worked. We all had something to do. Even little kids had chores to do. I got a red flower wagon when I was, I think, 5 years old, but it come with a cost. I had to bring in the firewood. My mother died when I was 16. My father remarried a couple of years later, and I left home when I was 19. My brother was in California, and I went out there and I worked in the shipyard. After the World War II started, I was getting notifications from the Army that they wanted me to come in and join the Army, and it was mandatory. It was a draft deal, but I joined the maritime service instead. I worked on ships all over the world for 5 years, approximately 5 years, till after the end of the war. I came back to Missouri. I had two brothers-in-law that was in the trucking business, and they got me involved. I owned a truck for 2 or 3 years, over-the-road truck. My dad by that time, and he contemplated getting retired, and he asked me to come back to the farm and take over the farm so he could retire, and I did. I've been farming ever since. I lived in this house for 52 years with my wife. We came here after our honeymoon. We lived our whole married life till she passed away, and she died in 2005. I still involved a little bit in the farm operation. I say I'm retired, but I work some outside. My two sons do most of the operation. Well, it's been a good life.